Good morning and welcome to the 2012 Annual Convocation. It's great to see you all here, and it's good to be here. Thank you for coming. Today you will hear several themes from President Alexander, Dan O'Connor, and I. These include that the mission of CSULB is central to our strength and uniqueness. It is central to who we are as an institution. Our mission is based on serving students and providing our students a high-quality education that will give them the opportunity to reach their life's goals. Our academic purpose is to graduate students with highly valued degrees. In order to provide students with highly valued degrees, we must support faculty. If faculty, supported by staff, do not have the resources to do their work, teaching, research, scholarship, creative activity, and service, the quality of the education we provide our students will be diminished. Our history of working together across the four divisions, our willingness to listen to each other, which has served us so well in the past, makes part of what makes this campus unique. Shared governance, which includes participation from our student leadership, is alive and well on this campus. Another theme you'll hear is that this university works. This university works because of you, because of its people, because of our people. Public higher education is under a threat more dire than at any time in its history. States, including California, are attempting to abandon support for public higher education. This is a public policy issue of the highest order. Education is not a special interest, it is a national interest, it is a state interest, and it is a local interest. You will also hear today that we will be reminded that even with significant increases in fees, the CSU remains one of the best bargains in higher education in the country. You will hear more about these important issues in the year ahead a little later this morning from President Alexander and Senate Chair Dan O'Connor. Now it is my great pleasure to introduce a dynamic and visionary leader whose commitment to success of our students and our university is demonstrated each day. He is a national leader known for his advocacy of national and state policies that ensure public higher education is affordable and accessible for all students. King Alexander is not yet 50 years old, and he's in his 11th year as a university president, his 7th year at Cal State Long Beach. I'm not saying that I'm feeling old, but the year that I began my first tenure-track university position, King was entering the 3rd grade. And as many of the students and faculty in this room can attest, including Dan O'Connor, as a former college basketball player, he can still drive to the hoop and he's pretty deadly shooting threes. Please welcome me in joining President F. King Alexander, who will recognize our presidential scholars and their families.
What Provost Parr didn't tell you is I spent about 6 years in the 3rd grade, so. The commitment we made 18 years ago to recruit the state's most talented students, best and brightest high school scholars, to Cal State Long Beach as part of the Distinguished President's Scholars Program continues even through these tough economic times. Cal State Long Beach continues to hold the gold medal status as the premier President's Scholars Program in the state, with a remarkable total of 1,059 President's Scholars that have gone through the program, including 918 California high school valedictorians and 141 National Merit Scholars. Several scholars have earned prestigious federal Fulbright scholarships for international study, and they've gone on to study and work throughout the world, from the Peace Corps to Congress in Washington, D.C. 100% of the President's Scholars dedicate their time and talent to give back to Cal State Long Beach and the community through volunteerism and public service. This past spring, the President's Scholars were even awarded First Place Award as the highest team fundraiser for the American Cancer Society's Relay for Life event held here at Cal State Long Beach. Next week, 26 new President's Scholars selected from an extremely competitive pool. And a record pool of over 700 applicants will join this freshman class. And for the first time in the history of the program, we have a new cohort of scholars that are 50% female and 50% male. Normally, it's about 70 to 80% female and 20 to 25% male. So a little rule of thumb to the guys entering their freshman class, all you have to do is keep up with the women, and you'll be fine. So I am now delighted to introduce to you the incoming President's Scholars of the class of 2012. Now, scholars, would you please stand to be recognized by our distinguished faculty and staff? We are also pleased to acknowledge the parents and family members with us today who have supported and nurtured these top state scholars. Parents, now would you please stand so we could recognize you as well. Since 1995, this program and the scholars have benefited greatly from the generosity and the support of a wide range of individuals, of alumni and friends that support this organization and this program. I am very grateful to our Alumni Association, to the President's Associates, individual donors, and the Division of Student Services who contribute and continue to provide invaluable support to the President's Scholars. This program especially during these challenging economic times. Congratulations to our new scholars, and thank you to all our generous donors, alumni, and friends for supporting this top-ranked program, and we will continue to support it through the years, good and bad, with your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President Alexander, and our welcome to the new presidential scholars and their families. President Alexander will return to the podium later this morning to talk about the condition of higher education in our state and nation. California State University is a university of distinction, a university that makes a difference. It makes a difference in the lives of 35,000 students on this campus. It makes a difference in the lives of our 275,000 alumni, and it makes a difference in this community, in this state, and beyond. Each year, as part of these remarks, the Provost shares a few of the hundreds and hundreds of distinctions, accomplishment, recognitions, and honors that have been gained and received by this campus, by our students, by our faculty, by our staff in the previous year. It is my privilege to share with you a few of these now, and I mean a few. I think one of the hardest things for me in preparing this talk every year is which things I choose and which things I leave out, because there's such an amazing list of accomplishments. But please know that the entire list will be available in the Academic Affairs Annual Report, which should be out next week. So you don't have to take notes on any of these. California State University is a university of distinction. We continue to receive national recognition for our academic accomplishments of our faculty and students and the value that we provide in higher education. In the last year, in 2011-12, CSU was recognized as a university of choice. A 2011 article in U.S. News and World Report listed CSULB as 6th nationally in receiving the most applications for admission from first-time freshmen in 2010. CSULB received 54,086 applications from first-time freshmen for fall 2012, more than any other CSU, and a 10% increase from the previous year. In all, CSULB received 75,132 applications from both first-time freshmen and transfer students. We were also recognized as being among the nation's best. CSULB was ranked as one of the best in the West among the top 75 best public universities by Princeton Review. In addition, chemistry lecturer Thomas Guthrie was named one of America's top undergraduate professors in the Princeton Review's guidebook, The Best 300 Professors. CSULB was also recognized among the 100 best values in public colleges by Kiplinger's Personal Finance magazine. 4th best public regional university in the West by U.S. News and World Report. One of 5 universities in the U.S. recognized for affordability, quality, and access by the Education Trust. A top military-friendly school by G.A. Jobs, and the 11th safest campus in the nation by Security 500 magazine. CSULB is also a highly diverse campus. We continue to be recognized for our diversity of our people and our success. CSULB is 9th nationally in awarding bachelor's degrees to minority students and 12th nationally in awarding master's degrees to Hispanics by diverse issues in higher education. According to Hispanic Outlook, we are 9th in awarding bachelor's degrees and 11th in awarding master's degrees to Hispanic. The Institute of International Education ranks us among the top 10 master's institutions for the number of students studying abroad and international students attending CSULB. Student success. At this institution, starting with the president, we have a commitment to student success in advising centers, college and department offices, classrooms, and throughout campus. We remain focused on our mission, graduating students with highly valued degrees. We awarded more than 9,000 degrees in 2011-12, making the class of 2012 one of the biggest in CSULB history. We remain very diverse with a high percentage of first-generation and Pell-eligible students. In the past 8 years, the number of Pell-eligible entering freshmen at CSULB has increased by 80%. The fall 2011 class, 49% of the CSULB entering freshmen were Pell-eligible. Lower division retention for our students is showing 6% and 7% gains for underrepresented and non-represented students. As part of our ongoing efforts to improve student preparedness, the CSU implemented Early Start at all 23 campuses this summer. Our program in Early Start was very successful. 1,529 students registered for Early Start math and writing courses, and over 98% successfully fulfilled the Early Start requirement. Despite continuing budget challenges, college and university advisors worked hard to meet growing student demands for academic advising. In addition to the thousands of hours faculty members devoted to advising and mentoring students, university and college student services professionals met with a record number of students last year in workshops and one-on-one appointments, serving more than 40,000 students. With the support of faculty and staff, our students achieved tremendous success in pursuits outside of the classroom. Here we highlight a few of their achievements. CSULB students are going places. Stephanie Bryson, the 2010 Outstanding Graduate Student from the College of Liberal Arts, became CSULB's first Rhodes Scholar. Her faculty mentors, Professor Larry Martinez and Nele Hempel-Lamer, helped her receive the internationally renowned award. Of the 32 scholars selected, only 8 were from public universities. Bianca Casada, a graduating senior in film and electronic arts, won a prestigious internship at the world-famous Cannes Film Festival in France. She was one of only 50 selected from applicants around the world. Students are winning awards. The American Marketing Association won 8 awards at the 34th Annual Intercollegiate American Marketing Association. The College of Engineering's Associated Builders and Contractors Student Chapter received 2nd place in estimating and 4th place overall in the 2012 National Construction Management Competition. Pacific Standard Time, CSULB's Vocal Jazz Ensemble, won the Downbeat Music Award for the 2nd year in a row as the best university vocal jazz ensemble. Tina Chan, a graduate of the Bilingual Asian Languages English Bilingual Authorization Program, received a Mandarin Dual Language Immersion National Teacher of the Year Award from the California Association of Bilingual Education. Students from the Daily 49er took home 8 top prizes at the California College Media Association Awards, the most in almost a decade. Students Thomas Baker, a graduate student in physics, Sarah Klingen, who graduated in May with a degree in psychology, and Denise Akamoto, a graduate student in economics, captured top honors at the 26th Annual CSU Student Research Competition, a statewide contest showcasing the significant research done by undergraduate and graduate students in this 23 system campus. And that competition this year was hosted at Cal State Long Beach. 2 political science majors, Ryan Chapman and Yasmin Manners, won the Texas State Undergraduate Moot Court Tournament at the University of Texas in Marst after posting a perfect record of 7 wins and no defeats. Social work student Tracy Souter won the IKEA Life Improvement Challenge, securing a $10,000 makeover for the LA County Department of Children and Family Services Children's Visitation Rooms. Graduate biology students Melissa K. Jones, undergraduate student Twen Ngoc Tran, and biology major Chris Armaskos were the students who won the CSULB, the CSU Program for Education and Research in Biotechnology, won awards at the annual symposium in January 2012. Our students and our faculty are also innovative. Students Ryan Beck and Matt Martin won the $10,000 prize in CSULB's second annual Innovation Challenge for their technology that improves the quality and performance of sliding glass doors and windows. The challenge is co-sponsored by the Colleges of Business Administration and Engineering. Faculty research, scholarly, and creative activity. 2012 was an exceptional year for research, scholarly, and creative activity at CSULB. Our faculty and staff were awarded a total of more than $49 million, a record for the university in external funding. Of 328 proposals submitted, 198 were funded, a 62% success rate, which is really remarkable in a time when less money is being handed out and the competition is more and more fierce. At this time of funding frugality, we received nearly 57% of the total funding requested, significantly higher than at any other time in our history. These figures are impressive, but what really matters is not the amount, but the impact that this external funding has on the support of our mission. Direct support for scholarships, stipends, and tuition fees allocated from grant awards amounted to more than $4.8 million, with an additional $2.2 million allocated to student salaries and wages. STEM. In his State of the Union address in January, President Obama confirmed his commitment to improve science, technology, engineering, and math education over the next decade, stating that the decline in U.S. competitiveness in science and technology was a national crisis and a government priority. Our faculty responded to this national call and were awarded $7.8 million in support of STEM initiatives, a significant portion targeted to the increased competitiveness of minorities and underserved students. Among the awards received was a $4.4 million HSI Hispanic Serving Institution STEM grant from the U.S. Department of Education to help increase the number of Latino students earning degrees in the STEM disciplines. Among the awards also was a $900,000 grant from the Stephen D. Bechtel Jr. Foundation for a joint project between the College of Natural Science and Mathematics and the College of Education. Multidisciplinary research. During the last year, Academic Affairs awarded $59,890 to faculty in 5 multidisciplinary research awards to motivate collaborative research among different academic units at CSULB. 4 faculty members were recognized for excellence in research, scholarly, and creative activity at the University Achievement Awards and celebration of instruction, research, and creative activity and service. Dr. William James from Teacher Education received the Faculty Scholarly Creative Activity Award. Dr. Chris Lowe from Biological Sciences and Dr. Hamid Rahai from Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering were presented the Academic Affairs Award for Impact Accomplishment of the Year in Research, Scholarly, and Creative Activity. Dr. Stephen Mezek, Chemistry and Biochemistry, was given the Academic Affairs Award for Outstanding Faculty Mentor for Student Engagement in Research, Scholarly, and Creative Activity for his work with students. Improving education. The College of Education received nearly $250,000 from the California Post-Secondary Commission to prepare teachers for new Common Core state standards. The faculty in the College of Education also received a 2-year, $234,260 grant from the James Irvine Foundation to prepare new high school teachers for linked learning, a promising reform for secondary education that brings together problem-based learning in small learning communities for colleges and career readiness. Dr. Stephen Adams, Dr. Leslie Farmer, and Dr. Ali Rezai from the College of Education are currently working on 2 professional development grants with the support of Google. The School of Nursing received a total of $1.8 million to allow CSULB to educate more culturally competent and linguistically more proficient family nurse practitioners to care for patients and families in underserved areas. Dr. Kevin Malott from Health Science was a co-author of an article published in the prestigious New England Journal of Medicine. Dr. Carl Lippo from Archaeology published his research on Easter Island in The Statues That Walked, which won a Society of American Archaeology's Book of the Year award. He also discussed his research in a NOVA National Geographic television documentary, which will air in November. Teacher education professor Dr. William James was recognized with the university's Distinguished Faculty Scholarly and Achievement Award. Global engagement. the number of CSULB students studying abroad with partner universities increased by 15% in 2011. More than 720 students participated in study abroad programs in 2011-12. Service. Whether it is providing students with service learning opportunities, bringing people together to discuss critical issues, or helping people improve their lives, CSULB remained committed to making a difference in 2011-12. About 3,000 students were enrolled in 112 service learning courses, providing more than 43,350 hours in the community. About 130 students logged more than 7,000 hours in formal direct service with programs like AmeriCorps, Justice Corps, and the Alternative Spring Break. Through the Center for Community Engagement, we partnered with more than 130 organizations in the community. Building healthy communities. The Center for Community Engagement was awarded more than $600,000 in grants to support initiatives that improve local communities. Helping teachers get back in the classroom. CSULB began programs to help teachers who were laid off from the Long Beach Unified School District teaching credentials that are in greater demand. Engineering the future. My daughter is an engineer, a 3-day summer residential program for parents and daughters to explore engineering in everyday life and participate in hands-on projects was one of several, which included Women Engineers at the Beach and Engineering Girls at the Beach, which encourages young women to enter the field of engineering. Community partnerships. A 12-week internship for students with Molina Healthcare. 6 healthcare administration and business administration students took part in the professional development program established by the College of Health and Human Services, the College of Business Administration, and Molina Healthcare. Bringing people together. CSULB hosted a number of events for students, faculty, staff, and community in 2011-12. More than 146,900 people attended athletic events, and more than 225,000 patrons came to arts events. That's a long list of incredible accomplishment and recognition. The scope and reach of this institution is broad and far-reaching. Please give yourselves and your colleagues and our students a round of applause in recognition of these accomplishments. Now I'll take a few minutes to reflect on the year past and talk about the year and the years ahead. Last year, we did what we always do on this campus. We went about our business serving students, creating new knowledge through research and scholarship, creating new art, and we worked together on campus issues. We did more than survive. The list of accomplishments you heard is an amazing testament to the determination and will of our faculty, staff, students, and administrators. Considering our circumstances, we had another remarkable year. But we know that's not sustainable, and we know that much about our future is uncertain. In the year ahead, our 2 prime academic priorities are unchanged. First, student success. Student success will continue to be a priority on this campus. It is central to our mission. Student success is what we do. The campus has placed student success as job 1 for many years, and we understand that student success is a university effort. It is everyone's job. Over the past decade, CSULB's graduation rates have doubled while our diversity has increased. During the last year, our highly valued degree initiatives, HVDI, was again led by Vice Provost Dave Dowell and Associate Vice President Lynn Mahoney. They worked with 5 task forces that have representation and leadership from academic affairs and student services to identify the best practices and strategies to put us on a path of continuous improvement. In HVDI, we continue to use data, not anecdote, to guide our planning and strategizing. We thank Van Novak and his outstanding team for being such reliable partners in this important work. And on behalf of all of us in academic affairs, on behalf of Dave and Lynn and everybody, we offer our deep appreciation to the deans and department chairs who continue to make student success a priority. This year, under the leadership of Dave Dowell, the campus created a new plan for admission that will better link academic preparation with admission to specific majors. Some elements of this admission plan will be effective in fall 2013. This linking of academic preparation and desired major at entry promises to significantly improve graduation rates for our students. Also, thanks to Associate Vice President Tom Enders for bringing his expertise and a lot of hard work to this essential initiative. Tom and his staff have to do a lot of the heavy lifting to make this happen. Our second academic priority continues to be support for faculty. Faculty are our most valuable resource. The university and its students cannot be successful without the faculty being successful. Faculty need support in the classroom, in their research, scholarly activity, and in service. As mentioned earlier, this year our faculty brought in $49 million in grants and contracts, the highest in our history. We must continue to grow the number of faculty applying and receiving grant support and bring additional resources to our campus, which not only impact the professional standing of our faculty, but have direct impact on the classroom, on the education received by our students. Being successful in this area is critical to our future. How do we move forward, knowing that our financial realities have forced us to reduce much of the support for student success initiatives, support for faculty, support for staff, and that we have fewer people on campus to do our work? Maybe I follow Winston Churchill's statement that says, I am an optimist because the alternative is so bleak. But there is a bit of good news. Knowing that our funding sources are so uncertain, in RPP, our budget planning process, we were very cautious in our financial commitments. Our transition to the new normal, which means permanent lower funding levels, is being made easier because in previous years we saved money which afforded the campus a softer landing last year and this year. This strategy also affords us more time to plan and the opportunity to know what the impact of the state balloting on the initiatives will be in November. Through RPP, the campus planned for its portion of the system-wide $200 million reduction in funding. But late last spring, due to the state collecting less revenue in taxes and other fees than anticipated, and I can't tell you a time in 25 years that the state has ever collected more than they anticipated, state budget was passed that increased the CSU reduction from $200 million to $250 million system-wide. That's an added $5 million reduction for our campus. This news came after RPP had finished its work for the year. No decision had been made regarding how we would manage this additional reduction. But in the last few weeks, several things have happened to make this situation easier. The first good news is that the team of Dave Dowell and Tom Enders once again did an incredible job working with the enrollment management team in weighing the multiplicity of factors needed to calculate our enrollments. We got the number of students that we anticipated and hoped for. We planned for a few less. Frankly put, more students means more money. So we have some additional funding there. The second bit of good news is that in closing the books last month, the campus's cautious and careful planning has resulted in a greater than anticipated carryover. That is, we have a bit more money than we planned. Between the added enrollments and the found money, the campus can cover centrally the added $5 million reduction that is CSULB's added share of the $250 million reduction. This means that we are not anticipating any further reductions to division, college, or department budgets. In addition, we can provide some relief for some other previously announced reductions. In consulting the presidents and the leadership of the divisions, it has been decided that we will use some of this funding to, 1, cover the budget reductions planned for department chairs, 2, protect research, scholarship, and creative activity funding for faculty, and 3, which is actually in 2 parts, mitigate a portion of the planned reductions and initiatives and programs designed to support students and managed by Academic Affairs and Student Services. This also allows us, what we were going to do anyway, to move, it makes it a little easier for us to go forward with the renovations of the 3 buildings, LA 234, which produce about 40% of the FTES on this campus. Another important initiative for the campus centers on the use and impact of technology. Through the excellent partnership between Academic Affairs and Administration and Finance, led by Roman Cochin and Janet Foster, we are making strategic decisions that will allow the campus to deliver essential services in the most efficient and least expensive manner. In addition, in response to issues raised at last fall's Academic Senate Retreat on Technology, a university task force on technology, marvelously led by Terry Allen, director of the Faculty Center for Professional Development, has drafted a plan entitled Vision 2016 that has outlined a vision and mission for technology on campus. This document is ready to be shared, evaluated, and debated as a guideline to future technology decisions on campus. As we move forward, We have significant assets and strengths that we bring to the table into these very uncertain times. These include our admission of student success and accessible quality higher education. We are also good at planning, and we do it together. The RPP process is a model of campus-wide planning and joint mission. A strong and dedicated faculty, talented and determined students. I have long been inspired and captivated by our students who understand that education is an opportunity in life, not an entitlement. A dedicated staff committed to servicing the campus and its people. Outstanding leadership in student government. The diversity of our people. We are truly a United Nations campus. We are both a Hispanic serving institution and an Asian and Pacific Islanders serving campus. A commitment to international education and our international students. Another one of our assets is a dedicated group of department chairs, the most difficult and most important job on campus. A history of respect for shared governance. Faculty opinion counts on this campus. A relationship of respect and working together with our unions. We are especially pleased that we have an agreement with CSULB and have tenant agreements with the CFA. A history on this campus of finding a way to do what needs to be done and coming out stronger at the other end and going through the process with a high level of civility and professionalism. We also have an excellent group of leaders in central administration and, of course, a dynamic leader in President Alexander. Lastly, I want to add that a university can only be as strong as its alumni and friends allow it to be. We must be very aware that people, even our friends who know us well, give to winners. They give to excitement. They give to something special and important. They give to support students. They give to support their alma mater. If we allow ourselves to be negative and downcast with our friends, it will lead to diminished outside support. This does not mean that we cannot speak of the difficulties that result from dramatically reduced state support, but we must leave the interactions with our friends and donors with a sense of optimism, that all is not lost. We need the emotional and financial support of our alumni and friends now more than ever. Thanks to the leadership and the Division of University Relations and Development and the College Directors of Development and Development Coordinators for their important work. In closing, we begin an academic year amid one of the worst budget realities we have ever faced. For this incredible collection of people, programs, and priorities created over the last 63 years, this very special place called California State University, the future is uncertain. As we have said the last few years, this certainly is not business as usual. But here we are. Despite the serious economic situation and the impact this has had in each and every one of us in this room and on our campus, we are here ready to do our work. Despite the uncertainty, we are here still excited about the year ahead. We are here because we deeply believe in the mission of this institution and the CSU. We deeply believe that education is the key to a better future for everyone in this state and beyond, and we deeply believe that without a well-supported and valued education system, K through doctorate, the future of all of us is in jeopardy. We are here because we have students to teach, research, scholarship, and arts to create, and service to provide to our campus and this community and beyond. We are here because we believe in something greater than ourselves. We are here because what we do matters. We are here because we all know that what we do here has impact beyond this performing arts center, this campus, this community, this city, and this state. The listing of incredible accomplishments, recognitions, and honors that you heard earlier is what we do here. It is what we are. These are facts, not hyperbole. When you graduate 9,000 students a year, well prepared to create a life, and when you have 275,000 alumni, it is clear that what we do on this campus matters. We change and impact communities. We change lives. I am honored to serve this campus as provost. Despite all of our issues and anxieties, I cannot think of a place I'd rather be, no job I'd rather have than this one, because, like you, I either go to school or work at California State University, Long Beach, a great public university. Thank you for your kind attention this morning.
I want to thank President Alexander and Provost Parr for allowing me to share some thoughts about the upcoming academic year. I want to begin by recognizing the former chair of the Academic Senate, Lisa Vollendorf, who had a profound impact on the Senate and the broader campus community during her tenure as chair. So thank you to Lisa. Well, happy new school year. Like most of you in the audience, I've been involved in education all of my life and have always taken great joy in the opportunity we have to begin again every new school year, to recreate ourselves. For you students who are entering this important self-creation phase of your life, for you faculty who are creating your professional identities, and for the whole university community, the question of how we recreate ourselves in order to meet our mission has become increasingly complicated. How do we recreate ourselves given the current context? My message to you students and to the parents of the students is that as you discover your path of recreation, you are in good hands. You're in good hands because Cal State Long Beach has a president who is a visionary and internationally recognized leader, deeply committed to student success and to making the college experience as affordable and accessible to as many students as possible. President Alexander is committed to public education as a public good to be shared. You're in good hands because Cal State Long Beach has a provost and academic administration that are committed to providing you with outstanding academic programs and who recognize that we are preparing an educated citizenry who will serve the public. You're in good hands because Cal State Long Beach has a faculty who are committed to their disciplines, who are committed to the university mission of student success, and who are committed to honing their craft of teaching. You're in good hands because Cal State Long Beach has staff members who are constantly exploring ways to do more with less, and who are committed to helping students achieve their goals. And you are in good hands because Cal State Long Beach has a student body ably led by Associated Students Incorporated that is diverse and motivated, a group of students that understands that it is part of their civic duty to make its university and its world a better place. These are the raw materials with which we have to work and to build a university that we want to be. In recreating ourselves, we recreate our university. Two of the most important contemporary phenomena that touch all of our lives are the recent Olympics and the upcoming election in November. Both of these events have captured enormous media attention and have insinuated themselves in many aspects of our lives. The main difference between the Olympics and the upcoming political election is that everybody seems to love the Olympics and everybody pretty much hates politics. One does not have to look far to hear people complain about how awful American politics is, and California politics is every bit as bad. We hear how government is not the solution, but the problem itself. So, okay, let me see. Everybody hates politics, and yet the academic senate is the central locus of politics on our campus. Everybody distrusts government, and yet the academic senate is the nexus of shared governance on our campus. Awkward. It does not have to be this way at any level, and I believe that through our commitment to the principle that higher education is a public good, we can establish a place for recreating ourselves and our university. Politics is the act of people coming together to work for common goods. Being political is a good thing. So, how do we recreate ourselves in these difficult times? How do we provide these students the opportunities for self-creation they so richly deserve? We do this by embracing the political, not running away from it. We will not turn away from politics and the political process. We will lean into it, make it our own. I speak to you today in praise of politics. Watching the recent Olympic Games, I was impressed, as I know so many of you were, to learn of the commitment of the athletes. Endless hours spent in swimming pools, weight rooms, tracks, practicing their sports. Each of these athletes was committed to being the very best that she or he could be. But in every interview, what you learned was that for all of the athletes, the name on the front of the jersey was more important than the name on the back. They were committed to the notion of national pride as a public good. They believed in something greater than themselves. And for this, we call them heroes. Last week, Long Beach's own Misty May. I can't believe I'm the first person to say Misty May. Yay! Misty May was on a late-night talk show last week, while she was happy to talk about the Olympics and the medals and the whole experience, what she really wanted to talk about were her future goals of public service, working for foundations that serve the common good. Her commitment beyond herself to the public good is what struck me as heroic. Understanding heroism as the commitment to public goods, we can begin to recognize that there are heroes all around us at this university. I have heroes like the staff of offices throughout this university, in places like the Benefit Services, the Atlas Network, the Euclea Center, the School of Nursing, and in departments in all of the colleges who are constantly asking themselves, how can we better serve students? These are my heroes. I have heroes among our faculty, like colleagues Gary Hittrick, who last year was recognized for his work in the Long Beach community. Gary links his research and teaching on the issues of poverty and race to the local community and strives to achieve social justice, an increasingly underappreciated concept. Heroes like Carlos Silveira, who regularly takes groups of Long Beach students to work and share the wonders of art with children living in some of the most poverty-stricken areas of the world, from the former killing fields of Cambodia to the favelas, the slums of Rio de Janeiro. These are my heroes. Their deeply personal work cannot be understood without the notion of common public goods. I have heroes like faculty leaders Terry Yamada and Elizabeth Hoffman, who work tirelessly in service to the faculty and to the university as a whole. I especially want to recognize their work towards a new collective bargaining agreement. We are all in their debt. I have heroes like Athletic Director Vic Seglis, who daily goes about his business ensuring that our athletic programs give real meaning to the phrase student athlete. Cal State Long Beach has won the Big West Trophy for overall excellence in athletics the last 2 years in a row and the 3 of the last 4 years. I have heroes like Associate Vice President Lynn Mahoney, who spends nearly every waking hour thinking about how to improve the academic success of our students through her tireless efforts to improve advising across the university and leading such initiatives as the Highly Valued Degree Initiative, General Education Reform, and most recently, the Early Start Program. Her commitment to this university is indeed heroic. And I have so many heroes among our incredibly diverse student body. Individuals who overcome challenges on a daily basis and who are committed to completing their education and serving their communities. Heroes like Doug Leach, a student who began his college career about 12 years ago, struggled, made some poor decisions, and dropped out. A few years later, Doug turned his life around and committed himself to serving his community. Doug returned to Cal State Long Beach, graduated last May, after having completed multiple semesters of a perfect 4.0 coursework. And now he's on his way to becoming a teacher of special education in our local schools. These are my heroes. You are my heroes. Universities are the repositories of knowledge and wisdom, but knowledge and wisdom are of little use unless they are shared. You understand that, and that's why you are here. We will recreate ourselves and our university by instilling within our students a love of learning, an appreciation for the arts, and an understanding of the need to commit themselves to public goods greater than themselves. We will teach them to be engineers, nurses, teachers, and law enforcement officers. We will teach them to think critically, to understand the rigors of the scientific method and the beauty of the sublime. We will instill in them the habits of mind of writers, philosophers, historians, mathematicians, business analysts, and designers. We will teach them citizenship. We will encourage them to read books. Ultimately, we will teach them to teach themselves. And we will teach them that each of these acts is a beautifully political act. The role of the Academic Senate is to provide a civil and collegial space for considered debate that allows students, faculty, administration, and staff to build consensus about what is best for our campus, for our Commonwealth. The greatness of a university can be measured by the civility of its discourse. This is going to be a difficult and challenging year, but with our commitment to our shared common good, our commitment to being political, we will make this a great year for the university. For you students, this is your shot. Let's get to work. Thank you.
Our president, King Alexander, is a national leader in public higher education policy. His writing appears in major venues, newspapers, magazines, articles across the nation and the world. President Obama's public policy group and many others in Washington regularly consult him on issues related to public higher education. Last year, he was one of only 10 university presidents and national leaders in higher education to be invited to a private White House meeting led by U.S. Education Secretary Arne Duncan, at which President Obama asked important questions about the future of higher education in this country. President Obama wanted to know how CSULB delivered such a high-quality product at such a modest cost. I could go on, but I think it's clear to all of us that another one of the great fortunes we have on this campus is a national leader who has as much influence on national public education policy as any president in the country. And he may even be more proud of being named President of the Year by the California State Student Association 2 of the last 3 years. Please join me in welcoming President F. King Alexander.
Thank you, Provost Parr, and thank all of you. On November 6th, everybody in here needs to vote. Thank you, and go Beach. Thank you, Provost Parr, and welcome students, faculty, staff, 49er Foundation board members, Board of Governors, Alumni Association Board of Trustees, and honored guests to our new academic year at the Beach. I would first like to thank our new chair of the Academic Senate, Dan O'Connor, and Provost Parr. I really don't have to say anything else about our commitment to the public good and the public needs of this state and nation. They're very important remarks of working collaboratively. We're all in this together. This is our fight as a body. This is our fight as a public caring entity. And their vision to move our university forward despite these external fiscal circumstances have become far too common as I stand in front of you once again to give you the bad news and the good news. It is also my distinct pleasure to also welcome you to our convocation. This convocation always gives me an opportunity to share with you some of our recent accomplishments that we may not hit upon, but also give you an idea how we can forecast the future of what's going to happen this academic year, which even Las Vegas odds makers refuse to bet on. First, however, I too would also like to welcome our new cohort of tenure-track faculty, visiting faculty, and lecturers who bring to us an impressive set of academic credentials, backgrounds, and diverse talents. Please know that all of our dedicated faculty and staff will certainly do our best to ensure that all of you get off to the best start possible at the Beach. And as I tell all our new faculty, if you have any problems whatsoever, please make sure that you contact Provost Parr, who's right there. Because I have no doubt that I will probably screw things up for you even more if you called me first, as my staff will attest and certainly my daughters will tell you. I'd also like to welcome the small cohort of new staff members to our campus family. Our people, our faculty and staff are the reason we got over 75,000 applications, second in the nation. And it is our faculty and staff who are the reason why we continue to set new graduation records each and every year. I would also like to use this opportunity to invite each of you to our campus tomorrow for move-in day, which begins tomorrow morning at about 9 o'clock. On this special day, we will welcome over 2,500 residential students and their parents as they relocate to their new campus homes. We will start moving them in around 9 o'clock and will continue till about 5 o'clock. If you join us, you too will also find yourself mesmerized by witnessing how 6 to 8 carloads of junk get crammed into these little dorm rooms. This year also is going to be a very special year for our residential campus students because we are initiating a new residential college system, much like that used at Oxford, Cambridge, Rice, UC San Diego, and SUNY Binghamton. This new residential college system, where students will be members of either Beachside College, Hillside College, or Parkside College, will provide our students with many new governing, athletic, academic, and public service opportunities. Each of these colleges will compete with the others in a variety of learning-based programs, further linking our students to the many additional college and university-based opportunities that we offer. As we all know, learning on a university campus is not confined to the classroom alone, but occurs at all hours of the day wherever our students reside. Prior to getting into our current budgetary situation, I'd like to briefly highlight some major accomplishments by our university faculty and staff and students. Before this, however, and before I share with you some of these important numbers and data, and as you know, I use a lot of data, as I usually do, I would like to warn you, as I have done in previous occasions, that since this is a major presidential election year, and I did grow up in the state of Florida, that there are 3 kinds of people from the state of Florida. There are those who can count and those who can't. Looking back at last year, I would like to first begin by expressing my sincerest gratitude to all of our faculty and staff members who helped our university set new record of external grants and contracts through their research and research-related activities. In 2011-12, we generated nearly $50 million in external research funding, which is nearly 15% more than we've ever done previously. Let me put that in perspective. There are many research universities out there that don't generate $50 million a year. Just the University of Alabama generates $75 million a year. We're generating $50 million a year, thanks to your efforts to generate these resources. I would also like to thank our development and university relations staff and the thousands of donors who helped raise $28 million in private philanthropic dollars for our campus. As we continue to proceed with our first capital campaign, last year's gifts pushed us over the $200 million mark and has allowed our university endowment to exceed $45 million. So thank you to our development staff and all of those involved, our deans and others. Due to a continued pattern of rapid state funding disinvestment in the state of California, of which I will talk more about later, these external funds in the form of research grants and contracts and private giving support will only increase in their significance to us. This is one reason why Provost Parr and I decided to reallocate more funding this summer to the RESIS or SCAC grants for faculty research programs and projects to promote faculty research in all corners of our campus. I would also like to thank all of you for your continued commitment to our campus Highly Valued Degree Initiative, or HVDI as we call it. And for our new faculty, just a hint about our campus. You don't need to officially name a program or organization a legitimate name, just give it an acronym, and it survives. This places our students at the center of attention as we all collaborate to work to ensure that they have the best possible opportunity to graduate. We embarked on this initiative 6 years ago, and the results speak for themselves. Despite the horrible state budget situation we've maintained, we have actually maintained our highest graduation rates in our history and continue to graduate the largest graduating classes in our 63-year history. It has been because of your commitment, dedication, and sacrifices during these last couple of academic years that our university was named by the Education Trust in Washington, D.C. as only one of 5 colleges and universities in the nation as the best for students seeking affordable education and a high likelihood of graduating from the institution that they attend, while at the same time continually committing to low-income students as we have done. Furthermore, our graduation success, low national tuition and fees, and our very low student loan indebtedness, which ranks among the lowest in the nation, allowed Cal State Long Beach, our campus, to be invited with 6 other public universities to meet with President Obama Secretary Duncan in the Roosevelt Room of the West Wing last December. We were asked to advise the President how we're able to do this when so many other institutions cannot. He asked, why are there over 100 universities charging $50,000 a year and sending students into significant debt? His concerns were about student debt and keeping students out of massive debt. Last year, student loan indebtedness surpassed $1 trillion, surpassing total debt of credit cards in America. This issue is here to stay, and we are glad to be compared to the rest, and will continue to be a national leader in setting a tempo that others should follow. This avenue to work with the President, the Secretary of Education, and the White House domestic policy staff, which has been going on since December, has given me a great degree of optimism that many federal higher education reforms are on the way, and campuses such as ours may very well be at the center of all of these solutions. From my perspective, it really doesn't matter to me if we are closely working with the Republicans or Democrats on the Hill. If they want to promote the kinds of federal policies that help the Cal State Long Beaches of this nation to continue forging forward with a public mission, while also putting federal funding pressures on states to remain engaged in their public education funding responsibilities, then we welcome their efforts and we support them any way possible. But without your hard work, we would not be at the table or in a position to help shape new federal policies. More importantly, though, it has been your dedication and hard work that has changed tens of thousands of lives. It is a moral and economic imperative that we help our students understand the lifelong significance of getting their degrees. Despite what some politicians and newspaper columnists have recently stated about how going to college is not a universal need, reducing educational investment in future human capital restricts not only access but lifelong opportunity. Or as Anthony Carnevale at the Georgetown University Center for Education and Workforce stated in a recent report, The College Advantage, Weathering the Economic Storm, he stated, college has proven to be the best umbrella in this historic economic storm and the best preparation for the economy that is emerging in a recovery. So thank you to all of you for your efforts and your commitment. Furthermore, there are a couple of other areas that I'd like to recognize for their efforts this past year. First, I'd like to thank our university police and security officers for keeping our campus among one of the safest in America. Also, we are grateful for all of those working in the ongoing capacity to make our university a greener and more environmentally friendly campus. From our ASI and the new water bottle stations to our bike rental and electric car stations to nearly 9,000 students, faculty, and staff that utilize the free U-Pass system through Long Beach City Transit, we are very, very grateful. Imagine 9,000 more cars coming and going from campus each and every day. From my office, that means 9,000 less parking complaints. Finally, I'm also pleased to once again recognize for the fourth consecutive year our intercollegiate athletic program, which is one of only a small number of public universities in California that passed the NCAA's academic progress standard in each and every program. This measures a team's progress towards graduation and has become the gold standard of academic measurement by the NCAA. But not only did our student athletes excel in the classroom, but we won 6 of 18 Big West Conference championships and brought home the Big West Commissioner's Cup for the 3rd time in 4 years, which means that we are the most successful athletic program in the Big West Conference. Also, I would like to congratulate our 3 Long Beach State graduates who brought home 1 gold and 2 silver medals. Overall, 79 nations won medals in London. And if Cal State Long Beach were considered a country by itself, we would have finished tied for 41st in the world. As for the London Olympics, I must also add that thanks to an early, rather controversial federal law, more commonly known as Title IX, the women of the U.S. Olympic teams by themselves won enough medals to finish 3rd in the world in overall national medal standings. I think everyone in the room who has daughters appreciates that. Prior to discussing our current university and state budget, I want to share with you a couple of improvements that you should benefit from throughout the year. First, our daycare situation for our faculty and staff has been under stress for many years, as you all know. In fact, it is rumored that you must get on the waiting list years in advance and before you're pregnant even, to acquire a daycare spot on this campus. So due to our new collaboration with the Veterans Administration next door, who actually shares the same campus with us next door, and their forward-thinking director, Isabel Duff, we will be opening this year a new state-of-the-art daycare center that the Army Corps of Engineers have constructed, and we will manage through our College of Health and Human Services. This center will provide nearly 3 times the daycare spaces for children of our faculty and staff that are currently available, or roughly another 40 new spaces for our faculty and staff. This project also ushers in a new model of collaboration between the VA and Cal State Long Beach for years to come. Also, some summer campus construction projects will make walking and biking through campus much easier as we add bike paths and walking paths, and eventually make teaching in the LA buildings safer and more technologically advanced. 40% of our university classes are taught in the LA classrooms, and with the seismic and other upgrades that we will be embarking upon this year, the teaching and learning environment should improve significantly in the LA buildings by the end of the academic year. As you probably already know as well, in July, the CSU Board of Trustees officially endorsed the Governor's Tax Initiative, or Proposition 30, and will possibly adopt some additional measures in September that could help mitigate the funding hole that would be created if this initiative doesn't get passed. We also believe that the board will also ratify the new contract with the CFA, which we greatly appreciate Terry's work and others, that was recently agreed upon in September, and which means that we will not have a strike this fall, which is good for everybody. As for our new academic year, the 2012-13 academic year, we start as we have begun the last 4 out of 5 years, without knowing the full extent of our state budget. As usual, there are many balls still in the air, and we continue to work collectively to plan for the possible worst-case scenario, which is another major mid-year reduction or a $250 million cut for the CSU, or around a $30 million reduction for our campus. The best-case scenario, which is a much lower reduction, but still a $132 million budgetary reduction for the CSU, or a $10 million reduction for our campus in the form of a student fee give-back, is also a possibility after November. We do not know which of these scenarios are going to play out, and they hinge upon a November 6th vote by the citizens of California on Prop 30, or, as you know, the Governor's Tax Initiative. As you know, I can't tell you which way to vote, yes or no as a state employee, but I can tell you this: a yes vote certainly protects our university budget more than a no vote does. Additionally, as we move into the mid-year, January will bring an entirely different new set of budget situations at the state level with a new governor's budget and an entirely new federal budget that may have substantial ramifications for higher education. This tax referendum that will slightly raise the sales tax and increase income taxes on the wealthiest Californians or millionaires, or have some called them, as Fox News commonly refers to them as, the job creators, has and will continue to gain significant attention in the coming months. With the reference to the term job creators, all I know is that it wasn't Mr. Peabody's coal train or Mr. Buck Duke's tobacco wagons that led my grandparents out of Noy Hollow, Kentucky. It was public education and an opportunity to attend a public university with a mission just like ours. What I don't want to see get lost in this discourse of the day, the real reality is that the CSU has already been cut $750 million, or 30% during the last 16 months. Overall, for our university alone, we have witnessed a decline in state support from $205 million in 07-08 to $131 million this fall, with the potential of losing an additional $30 million additional dollars if the tax initiative fails. This means we have gone from receiving nearly 42% of our funding in 07-08, which were all of our revenues, down to 24% this fall, with the potential of dropping to 19% this November. And people say we're state supported. Well, we've rapidly become state located. And if this continues, all we will simply be is state molested. And although student tuition and fees have helped mitigate these draconian reductions, student contributions have only replaced nearly 45% of what we have had to endure as a university. However, despite the urgency of this immediate issue, we cannot lose sight of the more macro considerations that are at stake here. The fact that California, like many other states, has decided to abandon its previous commitments to public higher education and affordable access is a major challenge for each and every one of us. Currently, based on our tax effort or the wealth of the state of California compared to previous years, the last time this state spent less on higher education was 1965. For this nation, however, it was 1966. Californians everywhere should be discomforted to know that our state now spends less on higher education and tax effort than Kentucky, Arkansas, New Mexico, North Carolina, West Virginia, North Dakota, Alabama, and Mississippi. In fact, if these trends do not change, states will be out of the higher education investment business entirely by the year 2045. Colorado will be the first not to spend a single penny on higher education or its students in the year 2022, 10 years from now. California is following a very dangerous national trend that is leading to its own economic demise. You see, as Carnevale's The College Advantage report, that nearly 200,000 jobs for workers with at least a baccalaureate degree were added during the last recession, and 2 million jobs for college-educated workers have been added during the recovery. In other words, more than half of all the new jobs that have been created in this recovery have gone to workers with a bachelor's degree or better, even though these highly educated workers only make up a little more than 1/3 of the entire labor force. Or as The Economist stated, I think more succinctly in the late 90s, when they were asked, does Horatio Alger exist in America today? The Economist's response was, yes, but Horatio has to go to college first. We must continue to fight together to help society fully understand what is at stake here. Do we really want to be part of a first generation in U.S. history to leave the next generation of students with less economic and educational opportunity and a lower standard of living? We all play a role in working to ensure that this doesn't happen. In conclusion, I'd like to thank you once again for your commitment to our students and dedication to public education. These are critical times, but I do remain optimistic because the detrimental trends that we're living through are not inevitable and are simply based on societal choices. If we can parachute a dune buggy on Mars that shoots lasers through rocks, as a society, we can easily choose to reinvest in our children and students. We have the wealth as a nation, but more importantly, we have the knowledge. In fact, how did we get that Mars rover to Mars safely? It was education. It was education, that's how. From my perspective, the wealthy or millionaires of this country have been mislabeled by some as the job creators. The real job creators of this nation are our kindergarten teachers, our middle school teachers, our high school teachers, and every one of you in this room. This room is full of this nation's job creators because you believe that the greatest natural resource of any nation is in its human capital and the ability of an educated person to build and create new ideas, new economies, and to advance societies. This is not a new concept. Let me finish with this point. On July 2nd, a little over a month ago, I joined 60 other public university presidents in the Library of Congress in Washington. And we traveled to the Lincoln Memorial in our caps and gowns. It was pretty ridiculous looking, but we did. To lay a wreath at the Lincoln Memorial, in front of hundreds of tourists, cameras, and others. However, the purpose for this was far too important to go unnoticed. You see, on July 2nd, this past July 2nd marked the 150th anniversary of the signing of the great 1862 Morrill Act, or Land Grant Act, as is more commonly known. This federal legislation created a federal-state partnership whereby the federal government granted thousands of acres of land to each state to be used to generate funding for public higher education and the creation of public universities. For most states, these became their first public universities, which led to the creation of hundreds more in decades to come, including the Los Angeles Orange County State College, or Cal State Long Beach. It took federal pressure to force states to build public higher education institutions, and we should once again call upon the federal government to place the same kind of pressure on states like California to keep them from abandoning these important civic obligations. If you recall in President Obama's State of the Union address this past January, he stated that we are putting colleges and universities on notice regarding their tuition and fee escalation. But he also said, we're also putting states on notice as well, with future federal funding penalties to those states that continue to abandon their public higher education obligations. For those that say that these are too difficult times, that these times economically, that we can't afford to put new money in our students and children because the times are too difficult, let me remind those that these times are nothing compared to what President Lincoln and a Congress faced in 1862. In fact, just 2 months prior to the Morrill Act's passage, 24,000 U.S. citizens lost their lives in the Battle of Shiloh. And just 1 day before this monumental act was passed, 150 years ago, 36,000 U.S. citizens were casualties in the 7 days battles in Virginia. And during the next year, 2 months prior to Gettysburg, the Act of Incorporation was also signed into law, which created the National Academies of Science, which was ratified by Congress and signed by President Abraham Lincoln 1 month before Gettysburg. You see, these are simply choices that we can make as a state. These are choices we can make as a nation. And we're going to need all of your help to get us back on the right track. Abraham Lincoln believed in the power of human capital as one of our greatest natural resources, and in public higher education's ability to transform our economy, which it has done. So as you progress this year, never forget that you are the nation's job creators. That's what we do. That's what we do at our university, and that's what we do in public education. Because you believe in the human mind, which is every nation's greatest natural resource. Thank you for your dedication to our students, to our university, but more importantly, to this fight for public education. Good luck this year, and thank you for your patience, and go Beach.
Thank you, King. One of the good things for Dan and I about speaking before King is you don't have to speak after him. King, that was insightful, inspirational, and incisive as always. Thank you very much. I thank you all for being here today. This concludes Convocation 2012. Have a great year.